We begin our deeper exploration of the science behind chanting by looking at what inspires most of us to try it out. Even though, of course, we're all very different people, there's at least one thing which is common to us all. We all want to be happy. But what does that mean? What do we mean by happiness? Sensual pleasure may bring us happiness, but it can also bring us distress. The first bite of a delicious dessert is so enjoyable, but by the third helping, our bodies scream out no more. As we demonstrated in the last segment, even if we are successful in all the material parts of our well-being, there's always something missing. Plus, for most people, success in all of the ways we've been talking about remains elusive. Even when everything else is going well, stress, depression, anxiety, and other forms of mental ill-being always come up. Is a fractured, incomplete well-being inevitable? Or is there a way to find true happiness that's not affected by the world around us, or even our own body and mind? The Bhagavad Gita describes 3 kinds of happiness according to 3 different qualities, or they call modes of nature. And this is what it says. That which in the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. So we have 3. We've got goodness, passion, and ignorance. And so we've got a clear description of where true happiness lies, in self-realization. In other words, it's in finding the source of happiness within ourselves. Of course, that's much easier said than done. Pursuing happiness through our senses may be enjoyable now, but in the end, suffering is inevitable. This is happiness in passion. In fact, much of so-called happiness derived from sensual pleasure is simply pain in disguise, based on delusion or happiness in ignorance. There must be a better way. The Bhagavad Gita describes happiness in goodness, which is in Sanskrit sattva, also sometimes translated as truth. So true happiness. Finding this happiness may be difficult, like poison in the beginning, as it requires us to turn away from much of our material outlook of life, but in the end we achieve a truly sustainable happiness, the nectar. So poison at the beginning, nectar in the end. In any case, it appears that so much of our suffering and happiness comes from things beyond our control, like our environment, our bodies, and other people. And what to speak of death, which brings an end to all of our earthly plans for finding happiness, no matter how successful. And then there's the problem of ignorance. For some, ignorance is bliss. For most of us, there are big questions about life and its meaning and purpose that, when left unanswered, create emptiness in our hearts. The path of chanting and bhakti yoga is designed to come to a complete answer to all of the real problems in our lives. And in the next topic, we'll go further down this path, looking at the first key. Who am I?